Hello, so this is the first section for the Unit equations. And this one actually covers fractions. Just a review, you should have already been taught fractions like 5th, 6th, 7th grade. So let's just start off with our warm-up. So you have to, I should put the directions here, simplify this expression. So if we were doing this without the calculator, you would do what's in parentheses first. Remember PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So on that, you have division here. You have to do that before you subtract. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. And you could go ahead and do this part here. 4 times 3 is 12. But finish the parentheses. 17 minus 3 is 14 plus 12 is 26. Now let's go ahead and try to put that into the calculator just so you can see that you get the same answer as long as you make sure you put it in correctly. So in the parentheses, we'll put 17 minus 6 divided by 2. So I'm going to pull up the keyboard. Oh, we're going to back up, Ms. Horton. You didn't put the parentheses. So we've got parentheses, 17 minus, what was it, minus 6 divided by 2, sorry, minus 6 divided by 2. See, that's not how it should look, so just make sure you check it. Go back inside the parentheses, minus 6 divided by 2. Okay, that is correct there. Space out of the parentheses there, and then we're going to do plus 4 times 3. Plus 4 times 3. And there it is, 26. So you have to be careful when you're using the calculator just to make sure that it is putting in the numbers correctly, just like I had to go back and fix this part. Remember, this 6 over 2 is the same as 6 divided by 2, which is this part. The calculators are going to be really what you need to use, so make sure you know how to use these, the online calculator. All right, so in this lesson, you will be adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing fractions, mixed numbers, so that I can apply previous knowledge to understand operations of rational numbers. I'll know I got it if I can analyze a given problem to determine how to solve it. Essential question, how do you add, subtract, multiply, and divide fractions? All right, so just a review. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this. You should remember this, how to add fractions. If the denominator is the same, you just add straight across. So 1 plus 3 is 4. If you have different denominators, 1/2, 3/7, they have to be the same. So you have to come up with common denominators. So you think of multiples of 2 and 7. What would they have in common? And it ends up being 14. So in order to change it to 14, this fraction has to be multiplied by 7 over 7, which is the same as multiplying by 1. So you're not changing the value of the fraction. So 7 times the 1 is 7. Here, you have to multiply by 2. So you have to do the top by 2. 3 times 2 is 6. Then you add those numbers together. 7 plus 6 is 13. And that can't be simplified. Subtraction is the same idea, except you're subtracting. As long as the denominator is the same, just subtract straight across. Here, you have to get a common denominator because they're different, 2 and 7. So 14 is a common denominator again. 7 times 1 is 7, and then 3 times 2 is 6. Subtract across, and you get 1 over 14. All right, so adding and subtracting with unlike denominators. So we're going to skip this because we're going to just end up doing this in the calculator. You would just get the common denominator. Let's go ahead and look at adding mixed numbers. I mean, you can do this for practice if you want to practice with the calculator, or just practice changing these to common denominators to find the answers. It's a good practice. All right, so adding mixed numbers. On this one, it says you convert mixed numbers to fractions. You don't have to do that. You can just leave these and put 1 plus 2 is 3. But sometimes it's easier just to simplify if you go ahead and convert them first. So remember, when you're doing that, it's 5 times 1 is 5 plus 3 is 8. So 8 over 5 is this one as an improper fraction. And then 2 times 2 is 1 plus, or 2 times 2 is 4 plus the 1 is 5. Now these do not have the same denominator. Common denominator would be 10. So you have to multiply this one by 2. So 2 times 8 is 16. So 16 over 10. And then the 2 times, or I'm sorry, this one you multiply by 5. So 5 times 5 is 25 because this denominator has to be the same. Add across, then you get 41 over 10. Convert back to a mixed number. Remember, you just do that by dividing. 10 goes into 41 4 times. You have 1 left over. All right, subtracting mixed numbers, same idea. Change them to improper fractions. Get a common denominator. Subtract the numbers. And then change to a mixed number. You can pause this if you need to look at these notes. Just make sure you understand this. All right, we're going to skip that as well. And move into just review and multiplying mixed numbers. Oh, let me put this back up. You can pause this and work on this if you want to. You might want to just practice using the calculator. All right, so here, multiplying mixed numbers, you're going to convert these to improper fractions. Remember, that's the 3 times the 2 plus the 2. And that's the same thing as this. So 2 times 3 is 6 plus 2 is 8. And then convert this one. You multiply these two, add the 3. You get 1 times 4 is 4 plus the 3 is 7. Then you just multiply straight across. 8 times 7 is 56. 3 times 4 is 12. Convert it back to a mixed number. All right, dividing is a little bit different. Hopefully you remember this. You're going to convert them to improper fractions. 5 times 5, 25 plus the 3 is 28. 3 times 2 is 6 plus the 1 is 7. Now here's where it gets different here. So since you're dividing, the first fraction stays the same. You change the division to multiplication and you flip this fraction, or you do the inverse of 3 over 7. Then you multiply straight across. Actually, what they did here, it's a good trick. You can simplify these two, as long as they're one's the numerator, one's the denominator, they can both be divided by 7. So 28 divided by 7 is 4. 7 divided by 7 is 1. It just makes it easier to simplify at the end. 4 times 3 is 12. 5 times 1 is 5. And then convert back to a mixed number. All right, so let's go ahead and look at that Desmos calculator. So we're going to do one of each type. So we're going to do the 4 6 and 13s plus 2 and 4 8s. Well, these are some complicated fractions. Let me go ahead. I've got a screenshot of these, so I may have to make my screen a little smaller. Let me do this. It won't let me move this over, unfortunately. There we go. Okay, so that way I have that there. All right, so we're going to put in here 4, space away, 6 over 13. Just make sure you space away, plus 2, space 4 over 8. Now let's see if that's the decimal. Let's see if it'll change it to fraction. There it is, 181 over 26. It's like, whoa. So then you could change that to a mixed number. And it goes 6 times. So what you would, on the calculator, you would say, okay, so let me go back to here. So this came out to, I'm going to go back to the first one. It was 181 over 26. I don't know why we picked such big denominators. Oof. We know it's 6 something. So if I do the math, if I go 181 And let me just put it on the calculator again. So if I do 181 times 6, oops, divided by 6, I'm sorry. So we know it's, why am I doing 6? Sorry, 181 divided by 26. All right, let's make sure. 26. Well, no, let's do, we're doing 6, so it's going to be 30. Let's go 6. So then I'm going to go 36. 6 times 2 is 12. Plus this 3 is 15. I'm just trying to show you what the remainder is here. Sorry about that calculator issue there. 5 and then 25. So that would be 25 over 26. Unfortunately, the calculator does not change everything to the improper fraction, but I don't know, you'd have ones this complicated. All right, let's go ahead and try the division one, and then you could practice these two on your own. 6.5 divided by 2 2/3. So 6, space away, click over here. I'll go ahead and do that. Divided by, hold on. This one you're going to have to really do a little, we're going to have to push this to fraction here. 6, yeah, and Miss Horton has to learn too sometimes. So 6.5 divided by, because when I was putting that in, it wasn't setting it up correctly. So we're going to do 2 2/3. So I'm going to put it back down here, 2 space 2/3. We get 2.4375. So 39 over 16. We're just going to leave it like that for the purpose of this video. All right, so the next thing I want to show you, you have this activity in Class Kick. It's one of those where you have to decode, use your calculator, unless you like doing fractions without a calculator. And so when you find the answer, then you're going to put the letter wherever the answer is. All right, and you're going to email me a screenshot to earn those Narwhal bucks. All right, this is what the week looks like. We are starting the Unit 2. And so you have a lesson each day. Make sure you're doing these lessons, and then a couple of quizzes this week. Reach out to me if you have any questions.